Hi, welcome to Tech Venture. Today we have the update for the M1 chip iPad, and I'm gonna go ahead and start off with a couple bad things because you want to know the bad things before you buy such an expensive item. And the first one is, so they have you open it like a Mac. You just pull up from here, but if you do have the Apple Pencil on there, yeah, that's it's not gonna work very well. So usually you'd have to either remove it, or if you're very good at it, you could just, I guess, open it with the Apple Pencil. But the first thing you notice is after you open it, you do have to pivot it again. The iPad actually does know when you pivot it because it stays off until you start pivoting it. Which brings me on to the next thing that's kind of bad. If you actually fully pivot it, so I'll show you here. If you fully try to pivot it, which is like when it's in your lap and it's like this, if you let go, it goes back, which is annoying because this is the max you can have it pivoted. And it did kind of bother me, especially when you are like taller than it and trying to be like up here, it just keeps going back. So that's one thing that I found that was really annoying with this keyboard. It's still cool though that it floats. I mean, I guess you can call that somewhat of a gimmick, but it is cool. The next thing I do want to talk about with this keyboard is because it has a trackpad and because it is backlit, it does use more power from the iPad, because remember, this doesn't have a battery. And if you do keep the iPad for a little bit, like my other iPad with the old keyboard, or I guess the smart keyboard instead of the magic keyboard, I had them at, this one actually was a higher percentage when I put them down for that one whole day. And this one was dead by the next day, while the other one was still at, like, I believe it was like 58%, which is crazy to me. Like, shouldn't be sucking all that power if it's not using, but it did. Now, if you're constantly using it and probably charging it, you won't have to worry about that. That's just if you leave it. And also, one more thing about the keyboard, but disclaimer, only for the white one. So if you do go for the black one, they do make a black one with the trackpad. The white one does get pretty dirty a lot. I've actually, within the 2 weeks that I've had it so far now, I've probably cleaned it almost once every day, because if you just like touch it with, if your hands are even like, they don't look dirty, but you touch them and your sweat gets on it, it does show, and you do have to either wipe it or it will stain, and you'll need actually cleaning tools to wipe it off, which I guess could get annoying, but if you don't really care, then just leave it. But that's another thing. But that, like I said, that's only for the white keyboard. So if you decide to go for the black keyboard, you should be fine. Now, the next thing, yes, the backlit and it having a trackpad is bad for the battery, but I love it. So there's a click to it, so I'll let you hear it. Unlike the click to the the smart keyboard, it's a click, just like the Mac. The Mac actually has a click like that. Also the trackpad has a nice little click to it too. I'll let you listen to that, which is really, really nice. I really like the trackpad, and it works so well. Like, you think a mouse on an iPad, what? But it works so well. Like, when you hover over something, it like goes into that thing. I'll show you right here. So if you like, there's the mouse. Yeah, it's not an actual mouse. It's like a little circle. But once you like hover over an app, it just disappears into the app, which is really cool. So you know where you're actually highlighted. And it like clicks as well. So it's really nice. This also brings the, what's really nice about this trackpad, it brings the gestures from a Mac. So if you're kind of familiar with the Mac, that will be really easy to get used to, which I really, really like. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the camera on the iPad. So as you can see, like the previous one, it does have the LiDAR sensor, and it does have the two cameras, an ultra wide and a regular. Now, they call it the ultra wide, and this is the or the regular one is just the wide angle, and then this one's the ultra wide. It's just the regular one and the wide angle. But so they're not gonna replace your phone camera. If you have the 12, they're definitely not better than the 12 Pro Max. Definitely not. It won't replace your phone camera if you want to use to take pictures or videos, but it's not bad for an iPad. It's definitely better than the iPad Air, of course. Now, it's not competing with that one, but it is definitely better. So if you do decide to go for the Pro, you are getting a better camera. I also really liked, I did mention this in the previous video, but I did like how you can use your old Apple Pencil for this one. So that's something that's also really, really cool, and you don't have to spend any extra for that. But yeah, and the last thing that I actually wanted to mention, it was about the iPad and the keyboard. So if you don't get the keyboard, you won't really have this option. But so you do have a port obviously on the iPad right there, which you can use to charge if you want to. You also have a port on the keyboard right here, which you can also use to charge the iPad. But now this is an iPad that you're trying to replace the computer, which a computer has two, like the MacBooks. The MacBook Pro and the Air come automatic with two. And what if you want to charge and then, like, you know, get some data off your iPad? That's where the keyboard comes in, and that's why it also has a port there. So you can either be charging right here and getting data off the iPad here, or the other way around. So that is really cool. Now, another thing that you won't notice unless you first notice it when you buy it. But so the iPad itself by itself is 1.5 pounds, but the keyboard is 1.6. Now, yes, it's not much, but trust me, you do feel it. It is heavier than the iPad itself, which is crazy to me that just the keyboard is that heavy. Now, obviously, you're always going to carry them together if you're going to use the keyboard a lot, but if you ever do decide you're not going to use the keyboard for that day, like say you're going for a meeting and you just want to use the Apple Pencil, or say you're going into class and you just want to use the Apple Pencil and you know you're not going to use it, I would probably say don't bring it, because like I said, it is a little bit heavier. You might be saying 0.1 pounds, wow. No, you do feel it, trust me. So yeah, that is my verdict with the Apple or the iPad. And to be honest, if you have the previous one, and you are upgrading just for the M1 chip, I don't think it's worth it. The price does not change. Yes, the base model for that 128 is $1,099 for the 12.9 inch, and then for the 11 inch, it's $799. So it is the same price if you were to buy one brand new of the previous one. So if you're just upgrading for the M1 chip, I don't recommend it. But if you have two generations, so the iPad Pro 3rd generation with the one camera, the one without the LiDAR, it is kind of worth it, because like I said, you do get that better camera, you do get the M1 chip and the new keyboard. But if you do like that iPad and it does everything well, and you just like that keyboard, like I said before in my previous video, the new keyboard does work on the old iPads. Just keep in mind, this keyboard is $349 for the 12.9 inch and $299 for the 11 inch. And with that in mind, thank you guys for watching, and if you like this video, I appreciate if you'd share it, and you have a great day or night whenever you are watching this.